All right. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we shall continue our study for Ecclesiastes. So this is our last class. Basically, we are going to wrap up the book. By the way, you just had your test, huh? How did you do? Huh? So congratulations, you just experienced the evil under the sun. Huh? But what does that mean? It means that you might now know the correct answer, but it's too late. You might say to yourself, man, I was going to write that, but I changed my mind. So it doesn't matter how you feel. Maybe it doesn't feel so dramatic because you know that SSC, NYTS, the test is only just to help you. But if this is your school final, if this is your school final in college, if you flunk the final, you know you're going to, you're not getting the credit for the class. And especially after the final, you knew the answer. You just, at that split of a second, you wrote something else. And then just because that 1 point, you fall under the passing grade. And not sure if you have that experience. But you can only live in regret, and then you have to deal with it all over again. That's the evil under the sun. You cannot change what has been done. You cannot change what you wrote on the paper once you submit it. You cannot change the grade once the teacher decides to flunk you. You just have to deal with it. That's evil under the sun. But at the same time, you also experience blessing under the sun. As you can see that a lot of those content are intertwined. I shouldn't say you. Perhaps I should say the counselors or the coordinators. That for them, the blessing under the sun is that they found value in the work of their hand, or they found entertainment seeing you struggle in taking the test. I don't know which one now, but I used to. I don't do that anymore. Now I'm old. When I was younger, just a few years ago, you will see me walk around while the NYTS student taking the test. You will see me walking around with my camera. I love seeing the face of struggling. Like you're like scratching your head and you're like pulling your skin off. Like, I knew, I just don't know. It really satisfied me. It just made my day. Capture that very second on the photo is really, the blessing under the sun is that you get to enjoy the good of your labor. So now we are wrapping up. Now we're done with the evil under the sun, not talking about it. We talk about the good, the blessing under the sun. All these are in the world. So this morning, we mentioned about able to eat, able to drink, able to function, able to retain health, able to function. It is a gift from God, able to enjoy the goods from labor, produce value, able to make and produce value in life. That's a gift from God. Able to do good, show charity, be merciful. It's better to give than to receive, because give means you have it. You cannot give something that you don't have. Okay? So it's better for you to have the ability to give than at the mercy of others. Like a beggar waiting. So when you are able to do good, it always means that you are doing all right. Okay? So we also talk about that. We also talk about that it is good to rejoice. Rejoice. To rejoice. Rejoice in his work. Okay? You are able to like what you do and do what you like. Okay? That's also a blessing. That work is not only merely putting bread on the table. It gives you more sense of success, sense of accomplishment, sense of achieving. Again, please do not argue. Having a sense of achievement, is that pride? Solomon will tell you to be quiet. Let's talk about in a higher intellectual level. Okay? You have to remember, Solomon stands in the point of view, very neutral. Okay? Just like money. Money is not worldly. Money is not carnal. Money is not secular. Money is not evil. It's how you use it. Money is neutral. Okay? In here, you like what you do. You like the accomplishment. You enjoy the sense of success. There's nothing wrong. You do not jump to pride. Okay? That's over elaboration. Over righteous. Okay? Just like someone say, oh, I like what I do. I like what I study. Okay? I enjoy seeing the work done in my laboratory. You do not jump to the conclusion and say, oh, you are so prideful. Okay? You don't. Instead, you say, oh, great. Thank God that you like what you do. It's much better than you do what you have to, but you hate to. So that's also a blessing. Able to rejoice in your work. We also mentioned in chapter 5. In chapter 5, it says that you don't worry too much. Again, please do not over-evaluate. Solomon is not in here to talk about not to plan for the future. It's not about being ignorant or being irresponsible. No, I don't think about tomorrow. Tomorrow has its worry. That's not. Please do not take the Bible verse and abusively use it. When the Bible tells you not to worry about tomorrow, that every day has its own worry, the Bible did not tell you not to plan for tomorrow. There are differences. The only reason that you do not worry about tomorrow is because you know that your life is in God's hand. You do what you should, the rest you trust in God. That's called you do not worry about tomorrow. It's not tell you not to do your part. Okay? So sometimes we either intentionally or unintentionally we misuse the verse to find it as the excuse to be lazy. Okay? Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow is the final. Yeah, I will worry about it tomorrow morning. Final is at 8. So it becomes irresponsible. So you do your part. You do what you can. There are things in life that's not in your control. Then the Bible tells you if it's not in your control, then worrying will not do you anything. Okay? There are so many examples in life. So you worry, or shall we say that you work on the part that you can handle. You do your share. You worry about the part that you can handle. The rest, do not over worry. Do not worry upon things that you cannot do anything about it. Okay? So worry free. And lastly, the blessing under the sun we mentioned is family, or someone that really love you and care about you. Okay? You will find that in terms of evil, it was commonly mentioned about family. If you go to chapter 4, verse 8. In chapter 4, verse 8, that one alone without companion, neither son nor brother, and just money, 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 money. Here says nothing but vanity. If you go to chapter 6, verse 3. If a man begot 100 children and lived many years, so that the days of his year are many, but his soul was not satisfied with goodness, or indeed he has no burial, I say that a stillborn child is better than him. Now we found also the Bible mentioned about family. Usually people want what? 多子多孙多福气哈。People believe that if you have many children, and then you have a lot of wealth, and then you live many years, you live long, okay? Longevity. 福禄寿哈 in Chinese. That quite common. Often they feel that if you have these three, then you are a blessed man. That Solomon tell you otherwise. Okay? Solomon tell you that having a lot of children might not be a blessing. Having a lot of wealth might not be a blessing. Living very long might not be a blessing. Okay? You have a lot of wealth, but you cannot use it, cannot eat, cannot drink. You can see it, but you don't get to use it. So having a lot of wealth doesn't do you any good. Not sure if you run into some very wealthy but extremely cheap person. Okay? There are people who own so much, but they do not spend. They just keep on saving, but they themselves live extremely poor. There was once I went and I did a visitation to an elderly member in Chinatown. I feel so sorry. I was new. I was a pastor new in the area. So I saw that he slept on the cots, on the folding bed in front of the kitchen, outside of in the apartment, outside of the kitchen. So he slept on the folding bed. Around like 70 years old. 70, yeah. So we were there for like 20, 30 minutes, and he said that he has to go. He has to work. I was just like, wow. 70 still working. Okay, feel so sorry. Sleeping on the folding bed, eating those canned food. Just feel so sorry. So as we left, I was talking to the council. I was like, man, his life was so difficult. At age of 70, you still need to do work. He was working at 70 in one of the Chinese restaurant, like just do some cleaning, washing dishes thing, okay? Feel so sorry for him. So I said to the council, maybe we should do something. And the council said, no, don't help him. And I was just like, man, what kind of council is this? So cruel, no love, no sympathy. And then the council said, Pastor, the house that we just went, he owned the house. He's the owner of the house. Okay? Owner of the house. And he told me that, the council told me that he got 3 more houses he got 3 houses in total in Manhattan, in New York, in Manhattan, 3 houses. And I was like, but he was sleeping on the folding bed. He said, yeah, because he rent out all the rooms. He rent out all the rooms to other people to collect rent. And the council told me his wife sleep on the other house, also in front of the kitchen, on the folding bed, so that they can rent out all the rooms. Then I was told that, yeah, they are easily millionaire. 3 houses in Manhattan. But they always go to the supermarket at the dawn before like they close, and then they just try to get those leftover, some like cabbage, like some leaf fall off, and then they just collect those for free to come back and cook. Millions. They're probably like easily 5 million worth. Easily, just the house alone. Forget about other investment, just the house alone is 5 million. But they live so unbelievable. And I asked the council, I was like, why? Why would they live like that? And the council said, well, they got 4 sons. I was like, what does that mean? He said their lifelong goal is having 1 house per son. So they are still behind. Yeah, 4 sons, only 3 houses. So they're still working. At the age of 70, they're still working, trying to get the fourth house. Okay? Sometimes, you know what? People have wealth, but they do not know. They just, yeah. So you think that having wealth will make your life happy? Maybe not. You think living long, is that the blessing of life? Not necessarily. Depends on your health condition. Let me ask you. Would you prefer to live healthy and mobile, able to move around, and die at 70? Or live until 100, but spend 50 years on the bed immobile? Which one would you prefer? I don't know about you. I would prefer to die early. I would prefer to be healthy, run around, and then 70, I just go. Then living a long life, but unable to get out of the bed. Okay? Unable to provide for myself, unable to function. For me, that kind of longevity. So living is not, so life is not about living. It's about living with quality. At least that's my perspective. Okay? My perspective is that if I live, I wish that I can live with quality. Okay? So longevity might not be a blessing. Depends on how you live. And now it comes to children. Okay? In here, you might think that having children, having family is a blessing, but it can go either way. Okay? That in here, it says that in chapter 6, a man with 100 children. That's a lot of kids, right? A lot of kids. However, there was a statement in the verse, it says that he did not get to be buried. Right? In verse 3, he has no burial. Then the question is, when you have 100 children, how come when you die you don't get to be buried? It's a very interesting Think about it. Having all these children, but nobody want to bury you. There are only there is only one possibility, that the family is in chaos. You don't get along. Maybe because you have so many kids, they are fighting over your inheritance. Okay, you find this from the news all the time. Like people, like the children, they were suing each other over the will, over the inheritance, and to the point because of the lawsuit that the deceased cannot be buried. Okay, so or another possibility, they don't care about you. Yeah, having children, but having children that hate you, having children that doesn't talk to you, having children that doesn't interact with you, that itself is a curse here, not a blessing. So having a lot of children is good only if here says that you are able to enjoy the time together under the sun. You know that you look at David's family. I think that when Solomon wrote this, he probably have a lot of emotion, because Solomon got a lot of siblings, and they kill each other. I personally think Solomon and David, they are not that close. That's my personal thinking. Why? Do you know that Solomon was not the first choice to take over the throne? Solomon was not. Everything began with Absalom. David only loved Absalom. That's his favorite. And that's why the house is in chaos. And even Absalom died. Even God mentioned, even prophets say that Solomon shall be the king. David has been delaying it. If you do, you know what? A lot of times we naturally assume that David, Solomon, like they are very close, successor, right? No. When you have time, when you study the histories, you will find that David was trying not to let Solomon be the king. He wanted Adoniah to be the king. Why? Because Adoniah is good looking, just like Absalom. When Absalom is dead, but the Bible says that Adoniah just like Absalom. And I don't know, maybe every time when David look at Adoniah, and it bring back all these memories of his beloved son. So he has been tabled it, pushed it, delayed it. He would not let Solomon be the king. He wouldn't. So let me tell you that in my personal opinion, no. David and Solomon, they might not have the relationship that we thought they do. Why? Too many children, too complicated, multiple wives. Like the children that they were like enemy to each other, fighting over the throne or for the father. Like they want to kill each other. Like, you know what? David, it was not easy for David, because I also believe that David's childhood was not so healthy either. You know that David's father doesn't really like him? You know that he was the youngest one. But apparently that the father liked the brother more. Big, tall, and strong. Yeah, I don't know. Can you imagine that Samuel came to your house? You have a feast, but David was not invited. David did not get to come home, right? So they say, oh, all the brother passing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, everyone, until Samuel said, anyone else? And then Jesse said, one more in the field. Did you realize that something was not very right? Look at the way that the brother talked to him. Who do you think you are? Who told you to come here? Who told you to talk? That's why in Psalms If you look at what, it just very, I know it just every time when I read Bible, I always feel that there might be a lot of hidden stories that was involved. In Psalm chapter 133, behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. I don't know how David feel when he wrote this, because apparently that he did not get along with the brothers, and apparently his son, they did not get along with each other. Maybe that's the greatest pain. It is the greatest pain for David's childhood. It might also be the greatest pain as a parent when you see that your children try to hurt each other, try to kill each other. So that's why in Psalm chapter 128, what is blessing? In 28, what is the blessing? This one actually echo the blessing under the sun. In verse 3. Verse 2 says, you eat the labor of your hand. Verse 3, your wife is like a fruitful vine, and your children like the olive plants all around your table. So so the Bible told us that this is a blessing. Okay, so this is something that I want to touch upon, because soon you will have your family. You will build your family in the future. You will have your own spouse, and then have your children. Right now, you are dealing with your parents. You are dealing with your siblings. But let me tell you that this could and should be a blessing for you. Do not allow it to turn into a nightmare, like what happened to David, like maybe what happened to Solomon. Okay? All right. Now we want to enter into the last part. Now, for the whole book of Ecclesiastes, the only reason that life is not vanity. Remember, vanity is not the main topic. Vanity is the cruel reality. Okay? Solomon was never here just trying to make your life gloomy. He doesn't care, Solomon, as an intellectual king, he actually doesn't care how you feel when he wrote this. He did not write this to make you feel life is so gloomy, everything is so blue, because he doesn't care about the consequence of the reader. He doesn't. For him, this is only a piece of a summary, a condensation of his knowledge. If you are unable to catch the right concept, you die. That's your problem. Solomon doesn't care. Doesn't care if you end up feel what's the point? Solomon doesn't care. Okay. So Solomon only wants you to know that there's a way out. If you do not have this, then all this, they are value. Oh, they are value. Enjoy your work. Get to eat and drink, like I see on your Facebook. Wow, sashimi, jamushi. Like I went to Paris, I eat this and that. Oh, by the way, if you have the chance, try Iceland horse. That's one of the best things I ever ate in my life. And never, if you have the chance to visit Iceland, never ever try rotten shark. It was one of their delicacy on the menu. The only thing I didn't pay attention, I didn't notice, the name of the menu, it says Warrior's Menu. The menu is only for the brave. I was like, oh, rotten shark. Very curious. And then it was actually really, like literally rotten. Okay. It totally ruined my day. Yeah. And I only have one piece of sample, just like this much, simple. Yeah, at first I was like, warrior. Now, my wife said I need to give a try because she dare not to, so I did. Yeah, you feel like, it's a very small piece, and it doesn't smell, there's no stench. And I figured that, hey, I ate anything, okay? I grew up in Taiwan night market, okay? My stomach do anything. I go to Africa, I got my hand in the big pot with the local and grabbing with no problem. So I figured, hey, with the Taiwan's night market stomach, nothing kills us. I was wrong. Yeah. Okay. No. Too much. Okay, at least I need to finish this part. All right. So the whole idea in the book of Ecclesiastes is that if this is all you have, they are value. You are able to find some fun in life. You are able to enjoy the food. You are able to enjoy your achievement. Yes, it brings you temporarily, it brings you success, the sense of success, the sense of accomplishment. But then, if this is the only thing that you have, remember what we said on the first day about George Eastman, Kodak's founder, right? One of the most wealthy person in his generation. He only left a note and say, what now? He got everything. He enjoyed everything. But then he doesn't know what else. He said, what else is there? He said, he wrote the note, said, what now? And he wrote, why wait? Because there's nothing else to be looking forward for. So if this is only thing that you have, then the blessing turns into curse because there's nothing else. Why wait? Life is boring. Okay? So we need, in order for life not to be bored, in order to find meaning for existence, you need to go from here to here. And as we said, the transition is in chapter 5. Why? Because in chapter 5, it begins by saying that if you go to chapter 5, it begins by walk prudently when you go to the house of the Lord. It all begins by walking to the house of the Lord. This is when the whole atmosphere changes. This is when the whole concept, if you do not have this, the short-term value eventually still turn into vanity. Okay? Then if it's vanity, then it's no longer a blessing. Anything short-term is vanity. Only until when you walk to the house of the Lord, then by learning, by knowing, there is a God above. And then there is a home, eternal. Okay? You learn about God, you learn about soul, you learn about an eternal home. When you are aware, things eternal, like with everlasting value, this is the beginning that life is not in vanity. But you have to remember the last part, above the sun, there is nothing like why is it evil? Why is it blessing? There's nothing like that. In here, we are not going to explain. King Solomon did not talk about why above the sun, like why it is a blessing if you are able to see things above the sun. Solomon did not bother with it. Solomon only tell you, when you are able to think about afterlife, then that's the beginning of wisdom. That's why he said that it's good to go to the house of the mourn. Okay? Because in the house of mourn, you think about death. You think about what happened after I die. Then you look for something perpetual, something lasting longer and beyond, something that exists forever, then it starts create permanent value. And only when you realize there's a permanent value, then the meaning start to exist. Okay? So instead, Solomon did not tell you why and how. Like, why is it good? How good it is? Solomon did not bother talking about it. He only do a comparison of temporary and eternal. Okay? So there's no further elaboration upon how good, what is it like in heaven. Like you always ask, oh, what is it like in heaven? Golden Street, Jasper Wall. Solomon did not bother with any of those. Solomon only tell you how to go there. So it all begins in chapter 5. When you think about the house of the Lord. And then it go on. It go on to chapter 11. We are only summarizing and condensing the process. If you go to chapter 11, in verse 9, so chapter 5, and then chapter 11, 5, in here it says, rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the day of your youth. Walk in the way of your heart, and in the sight of your eyes. But know that all this God will bring you into judgment. Okay? So by thinking about life and death. Oh, don't get me wrong, in here, walking to the house of the Lord is not about attending service or being in the temple. It's only now you know God exists. You know that there's heaven and hell. You know that you have a soul. If you don't know you have a soul, if you do not believe there's a God, then you are always on this side. You are always on this side. This doesn't mean that you believe already. Doesn't mean that you are it only means that now you are thinking something in the spiritual realm. Okay? Just like a true seeker come to church, know that, oh, okay, the Bible say that God exists. It only gives you a contrast of the earthly versus the spiritual. Okay? It's not talking pure, it's not really talking about you become fervent, God loving. It has nothing to do with that. This is an intellectual letter, intellectual article, like a thesis research. He only tells you that when you begin walking into the house of the Lord, you start thinking, yeah, if I die, what happened after that? Is it just a forever darkness? You know, some people believe that once you die, everything ends. But then you start thinking, what happened if it's not? What happened if judgment is real? What happened if there's heaven and hell? What happened if God exists? You know, when you start thinking about that, it leads you into a different view, a different scope. Right? So from there, you go to the next, knowing that everything, do whatever you want. All these things will be judged. Okay? So you know what? This is also what I want to remind you. When you come to NYTS, we give you rules and regulations. We talk about Bible. We give you instruction. We tell you with all the hope that we wish that you will be spared from the future regret. Okay? That's what we are trying. You might feel that we nag you a lot. So you say, fine, I will give you 2 weeks. Or I will bear with you, tolerate you for 2 weeks. And then I go home, I do whatever I want. You know what? So be it. What makes you think that I care? Seriously. You know, sometimes I don't know what make you think that it bothers us. No, don't get me wrong. I wish you succeed. I wish you have a good life. And I wish that you are able to stay in the church. But at the end of the day, it's your life. You are not my kids. So why do you think that I need to bother with you? What I mean is I need to nag you. I mean, I nag you in here, I tell you to do this and do that. But once you go home, even I won't be able to track you down. I won't be able to call you, no, don't drink, don't go party, don't join for the... I won't. And I can't. I'm not saying I don't care. If I don't care, if I don't care, I don't need to work on all this. I do care, but there's how far I would go, because it's your life. You are not E2. It's your life. So you have to remember that you are responsible for your own life. You are responsible for your own decision. Yeah, you know what? Some young kids say, I do whatever I want. Suit yourself. Solomon did whatever he wants. Seriously, Solomon did. You know what? If today you are 18 and above, right? There's nothing that even your parents can do to you. Nothing. And you just say that, you know what? I decide to live the life I desire. I'm just going to get my backpack. I'm going to move out. I'm going to drop out of school. What can you do about it? Nothing. Nothing. It's your life. It's your choice. So don't get me wrong. I am only wishing you to be better. I just wish that you won't have so much regret. Life is tough enough without all those regret and sorrow. You know what I hate the most about NYTS? I hate the most when, after praying for 1 week, then the heart becomes gentle and soft. And then the student come up to me and lower the head, with the head bow and say, Pastor, can we talk? I hate that. Because usually it's too late. It's usually too late. And I have to deal with the crying, weeping, mostly from brother. Actually, I almost never have any sister come to me like this. Maybe they go to other sisters. I hate that. That's something that I hate the most about NYTS, that when you just sit there hearing how they sobbing and say, it was never meant to happen. I was never meant to go that far. We thought that we are just, I thought I have it under control, but you don't. What can I do? I'm not going to tell you that you are okay, because you are not. The only thing I can tell you is your life. Swallow it. Because I cannot help you. Do you realize that that's why Solomon did not want to invest his personal emotion? Because by writing out his problem, nobody can help him. Nobody can save him. He was very much at the mercy of the Lord. He knew that. He knew that. So as I say, this is not a letter of repentance, because he knew better than you. Writing out the repentance is useless. It's between him and God. Coming to me and tell me you wish you could have done it differently, you wish it never happened, you wish it. You know what? I can have some sympathy, but I cannot save you. I cannot even tell you that it is okay, because it is not. It's your life. The only thing, please, I don't know why, sometimes you take it upon your parents, you take it upon your church, RE teacher, even on the pastor. What have we done to you? The only thing we try is to spare you from the future sorrow. That's the only thing we are trying to do. Okay? So from thinking about life and death to learning, knowing that everything you do today, here says, young man, do whatever you want. Because you don't listen anyway. You don't. You think it's nagging. You think, no problem. I have under control. I know what I'm doing. Don't bother me. Oh, you know what? Solomon did that. And Solomon said, you know what? young man, do whatever your heart desire. Just remember one thing. You make the decision, you pay the price. You need to pay the price. And not only that at the end, everything that you do, you shall be judged upon it. Okay? So so by thinking that, hopefully, before you do anything, you will think about God. Or you will think about judgment. And maybe by doing that, it gives you the wisdom. You give you wisdom that you won't live in a life of regret. Lastly, you go to chapter 12. Now, it gives you the final conclusion. In verse 13, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Lord and keep his commandment. For this is man's all. For God will bring every work into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil. Okay? So at the end, finally, out of all this time, after all this time, he only give you one thing. From the beginning to the end, this is the only advice. 乖一点. Now, the only advice that Solomon, at the end, after all the intellectual analysis about what reality of life is, at the end, he only give you one conclusion. Obey. It saves you a lot of trouble in life. But before obey, you might, if you read chapter 12 and on, you will find something interesting. It gives you, it talks about life, right? If you go to chapter 12, verse 1, remember your youth. Okay? Remember your youth. That's you. But then if you continue to verse 3, 4, and 5, and 6, then you find a lot of weird description. You find in verse 3 that in the day the keeper of the house trembled, the strong man bowed down. That in verse 3, the grinder ceased. All this, you know what this is about? It's about getting old, aging. All this is about aging. Aging. If you look at chapter 12, verse 5, that they were afraid of heights. Okay? Aging. You used to run up and down, taking the roller coaster. When you turn 70, you might not want to take the roller coaster. They wouldn't let you go up anyway, because you die and they get to sue them. Okay? So you do not do roller coaster. And here says that the almond tree blossom. What is the almond tree blossom? The hair turn white, because the blossom almond tree is all white. All white. So it talk about the hair. And then it said that the grasshopper is a burden. Wow, you used to be strong. As I say, I was able to lift up my wife single hand. Now I cannot do it with both arms. Yeah, and according to her, that's because I become weak. I totally agree. Okay, so that's now young men strong, right? But after 50 years, after 70 years, even grasshopper, I can feel it now. Until this is the first year I was so troubled by 那个老人老花眼. Seriously, I was just like, where are we right now? And then you know that in the old days when I see people do this, it feels so lame, right? I do that all the time now because it's number one, because it's the most convenient. Number two, at my age, I don't really care about how people perceive me. Like, I don't need reputation from you. So, yeah, it becomes very convenient. Sometimes you see Pastor Huang do the same, right? Yeah, it's just quick. I mean, of course, you can get bifocal. But, yeah, aging. This is the first time in my life I was having trouble reading, even with my glasses on. And you feel much easier, take it off. Yeah, I can feel it at my kneecap now taking stairs. I can feel, I'm still okay, but I can feel the soreness. At first, I thought that's because I jog with my dog. So I blame everything on the dog. But yeah, everything you see from verse 3, 4, 5 about almond tree blossom, you see the white hair, you are afraid of height, walking become difficult, and then you remember the old day when you were agile, strong, filled with vitality, and then that really tell you about life, because then you are closer and closer to the day you die. When you die, you need to face the judgment. So by thinking about life and death, by knowing about judgment, by feeling about the frail body, feeling about the day that you on gets shorter and shorter, means that the day that you get close to the judgment is closer and closer, then maybe that will give you a wisdom to think about, perhaps, while I still can, perhaps I shall be able to answer the question of what am I going to do when I see God in the judgment day. And by doing that, when you think about judgment, then you learn about obedience, and that will give you the true value above the sun. So Ecclesiastes is not glooming, it's not negative. In fact, Solomon doesn't care how you take it. Solomon only telling you, this is his thesis. This is the thesis of life from Solomon. He failed. So he wants you to learn from it, and perhaps, maybe you don't make the same mistake as him. Okay, let's all pray in silence.